Discover the incredible journey of a common engineer's son, who created a life-changing automobile. Jake Lawson stood among the thrumming chaos of the Elmswood County Fair, where music danced with laughter, and the scent of grilled burgers filled the air. His heart raced as anticipation bubbled within him. This was the place where dreams and community collided, where even the simplest idea could spark a revolution. A son of an underappreciated engineer, he had grown up witnessing his father's tireless dedication go unnoticed. Yet those humble values had shaped him into who he was. The chance to invent a vehicle that could change lives stirred a fire in his chest. Jake watched the cherry pie contest unfold before him, white smiles dazzling against colorful aprons and plates filled to the brim. The elite flaunted their wealth with extravagant decorations, as families like his, who brought simple delights, stood on the fringes. He felt a tightness in his throat, torn between the yearning to launch into the clear blue sky of his dreams and the pull of the life he knew. Each time his neighbors joked about his father's relentless dedication, Jake's frustration grew, feeling the sting of unfulfilled potential. "Come on, Jake." Lily, his younger sister, tugged at his sleeve, her eyes sparkling with hope and mischief. As he looked down at her beaming smile, something flickered within. He mustered a grin in return, but the weight of his scholarship loomed large, a golden ticket away, yet so far from his reach. Just as he contemplated the myriad possibilities, his phone buzzed in his pocket. When he glanced down, he saw it was an unexpected call that could change everything. The word scholarship awarded echoed in his ears. Energy surged through him, yet it quickly became a storm of confusion. His father's face, taut under the guise of a smile, signaled it was time to face another reality. Their family was crumbling under the stress of looming medical bills and job instability from a potential company merger. "Jake, we need you now," his father had said earlier that night, worry etched deep in his features. The words hit him like a brick wall. Jake stood at a crossroad, drowning in the battle between his dreams and his family's need. Felt utterly unfair. How could a single decision hold the power to fracture his family's loyalty? The pressure rose, devilish whispers of doubt drowning out the resilient voices of the veterans he admired. They had returned home searching for purpose. Why couldn't he do the same? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With the stakes rising, he envisioned an affordable vehicle designed for those who faced daily struggles. It could lift burdens, give freedom, transform lives. As he delved into research, he felt hope ignite amidst the shadows of uncertainty. But just as quickly, adversity struck a chilling blow. Equipment failures, financial strain, setbacks, they all loomed large like dark clouds blotting out the sun. Caught within a storm of personal and social expectations, Jake's determination remained undeterred. As he prepped for a crucial test, a defeat threatened to crush his spirit. The community expected greatness, and yet doubt whispered shadows into his confidence. Would he rise, or were the dreams of his father's son doomed to remain just that, dreams? As he wrestled with loyalty and ambition, one question hung in the air. Would Jake choose to follow his heart or remain loyal to the bonds of family and community? Jake took a deep breath, glancing at the backdrop of the fair. The vibrant lights blurred in his vision, each flicker a reminder of the excitement that had once been his driving force. This was supposed to be a turning point, but now it threatened to swallow him whole. Standing there, he could feel the weight of the world, not just on his shoulders but in the hearts of everyone around him. "Jake!" Lily's cheerful voice burst through his thoughts. She had her arms full of brightly colored balloons, an illustration of innocence oblivious to the storm brewing within him. "Can we go on the Ferris wheel, please?" Her eyes sparkled with delight, and at that moment, her happiness felt like a fleeting spark of hope. "Yeah, sure, let us do it." He forced a smile, feeling the pressure in his chest ease just a bit. Maybe a moment of distraction was what he needed. They walked to the Ferris wheel, its towering height looming over the fairground. As they climbed into their bucket, Jake's heart raced not just from fear of the height, but with apprehension over what awaited him at the summit. Would it be resolve or regret? Would he soar above his insecurities or plummet under the weight of expectations? Once they reached the top, the fair sprawled below them, an array of colors and sounds mingling like a patchwork quilt. Jake glanced over at Lily, her laughter ringing out, pure and unrestrained. How could such joy exist when uncertainty loomed so large? He turned back to the fair, his mind racing. What would leaving mean for his family? For his community? Could a mere vehicle really live up to its potential? He had envisioned a life so grand, one that could lift them all. But what if he failed? Jake? Lily's voice broke through the swirling fog. Are you okay? Yeah, just thinking. He smiled, but the worry behind it must have seeped through, because her brow furrowed slightly. You think too much, she chirped, nudging him playfully. Let us just have fun. You'll figure out this car thing. I believe in you. Her belief felt like a lifeline, tugging him back from the brink. Just then, the wheel began its descent, lowering them gently to the ground. As they stepped off, a commotion caught Jake's attention. A podium had been set up near the pie contest, where the mayor prepared to announce the best cherry pie. The whole town was gathering. Once again, his heart sank. He saw several faces, the ones who would weigh his success against their expectations. Maybe I should just give up, he muttered under his breath. Don't say that, Lily exclaimed, gripping his hand tighter. You're meant to do something big. Just like Dad. Her words sparked the memory of his father's steadfastness. The late nights spent tinkering in the garage, passion and perseverance embodied in every rusted bolt. Jake felt the familiar ache of determination rise within. But the voices of doubt were still there, whispering fears of failure, echoing risks of abandoning his family. Just then, someone in the crowd shouted, Jake, you here? Did you see the designs for the new vehicles? His heart skipped. The chance for a showcase was finally here. But how would he step up when every potential dream felt like it could slip through his fingers? There stood his father, a thin smile on his face, yet Jake could see the weight in his eyes. The dusk painted everything in hues of orange and purple, a perfect metaphor for a choice that needed to be made. Would he seize the moment and bring his family's name the honor and support it needed? Or would the fear of failure hold him back, trapping him in a life he never wanted? The crowd began to cheer, voices mixing with the still air, and Jake felt the harrowing anticipation of the choice he had to make. Did he have what it took to follow his heart, or would silence be his true fate? With a deep breath, he stepped forward, heart pounding but fueled with newfound resolve. The next moment could change everything, but would he be ready? Jake's heart hammered against his ribs as he moved through the crowd. The kaleidoscope of lights shimmered, mixing with the deepening shades of twilight. Every cheer felt like a nudge, urging him toward the decision he'd been avoiding. Glancing at his father, Jake could see the flicker of hope amidst the weight of expectation in his eyes. Jake! The shout came again, pulling him from his thoughts. The voice belonged to the mayor, standing tall with a pie trophy gleaming in his hands. Come on up, son. We want to hear what you've been working on. For a moment, the world around him faded. The laughter, the shouts, even Lily's excited tug on his hand blurred into one loud hum. What did the mayor even want from him? There was a rush of heat in his face as he felt the eyes of the crowd shift to him, curiosity and expectation swirling in the air. Each gaze was a weight, pressing down on his shoulders. What are you waiting for? Lily urged, her voice a beacon amidst the noise. You can do this, big brother. He knelt down slightly, looking at her sparkling eyes, and the way she believed in him ignited something deep inside. He took a deep, quivering breath. You really think so? Of course. Just like when you made that toy car last year. Everyone loved it. Her innocent enthusiasm tugged at his ragged heart, reminding him of the joy that creating had once brought him. With a nod, Jake plastered a smile on his face and started towards the podium, every step echoing in the depths of his mind. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder as he approached. Laughter and small talk faded, replaced by anticipation. Sweat trickled down his spine. As he reached the microphone, Jake cleared his throat, feeling the rough edges of doubts clawing at him again. He glanced at his dad, who stood at the front, eager yet concerned, and that small smile gave him strength. "Hi, everyone." His voice crackled, but he pushed through, trying to sort his thoughts. "I know this isn't what you expected, but I've been working on something and then it happened." Words flowed like the stream that cut through the woods behind their house. He spoke of cars, his dream designs, and the potential to change their small town. He poured out his heart, allowing the excitement to soar over the fears. Images of a future where he could contribute flashed in his mind: bigger, faster vehicles that wouldn't just serve a purpose but would inspire pride. He could feel the crowd responding, each nod, each cheer fanning the flames of his confidence. "I want to keep building things for all of us, for our families. I want it to be more than just about a car." Then he paused, searching for the right words. "I want to create something that changes lives because I believe we can do great things together." The moment hung there, charged and powerful, as the crowd erupted in applause. Jake couldn't believe it. For a flicker of time, the fear that gripped him melted away, replaced by a thrilling warmth. Lily bounced beside him, her delight palpable. "See? I told you you could do it." But as the cheers echoed off the fairground, doubt began creeping back. Had he said enough? Was he ready to take on the legacy his dad had built for them? The applause faded into murmurs, the crowd shifting as people began to disperse. Jake felt nerves coil in his stomach. What now? The weight of possibilities hung thick in the air, threatening to swallow him once more. "Jake!" his father called out, making his way through the crowd. "That was incredible. I'm proud of you." But before Jake could respond, his father pulled him aside, urgency written all over his face. "We need to talk about those designs. I think you might be onto something big, but we have to get our ducks in a row." Jake's heart raced again, this time with a mix of fear and excitement. What did this mean? Would they step forward together into something he desperately dreamed of? Or was this another moment of hope destined to dim? He stood there, frozen by the questions swirling in his mind. Could he really grasp the future that lay ahead? Or was he doomed to repeat the past? The night held its breath, waiting for his answer. As Jake stood beside his father, his mind whirled with possibilities. The warm glow of the lights above mingled with the beat of chaos in his chest. He had just opened a door, cracked it enough for a flicker of hope to seep through. But now, it felt like that door could swing both ways into a bright future or back into the shadows. "Jake, listen." His father's voice was urgent but steady. "We need to look at your sketches tonight. I have a good feeling about this, but we can't waste any time." He glanced over his shoulder, then back at Jake, his eyes full of the resolute spark that had always pushed their family forward. "You have real talent, son. If we work together, we can make something happen." Jake swallowed hard. It was one thing to dream, but another to step into the arena where reality met those dreams. "What if people don't like what I make? What if I fail?" The words slipped out before he could stop them, laced with a genuine fear that trembled in his voice. "Failure is part of it. You think I didn't struggle when we started? There were plenty of ideas that went nowhere." His father's eyes softened. "But we learned from them. Each stumble led us to something better. You have to trust yourself. I trust you." The weight of that trust felt like a gentle hand on his shoulder, but it also brought a wave of pressure. Jake nodded slowly, feeling a mix of gratitude and intimidation. He was standing on the precipice of something immense, and the idea of launching into the unknown left him breathless. "Okay, good." His father beamed, the lines on his face softening. "Let us get back to the workshop. We'll figure this out." As they made their way through the dispersing crowd, Jake felt Lilia's hand slip into his. She smiled up at him, her eyes bright like stars. "Guess what? You're gonna be famous. Everyone loved your ideas. Can I help?" He chuckled, pushing back the tangled feelings swirling in his chest. "We'll see, sweetie." Let us just see where this leads first. The workshop loomed ahead, the familiar scent of wood and metal filling the air. Inside, the clutter of tools and half-finished projects felt like home to Jake. It whispered of past failures and victories, echoes of laughter mixing with the sounds of hard work. But tonight, everything felt different. There was a heaviness to the air that spoke of uncertainty. And yet, the thrill of possibility ignited a fire within him. Together, they spread the sketches across the workbench. Lines blurred into shapes that flickered to life in Jake's mind, a new kind of vehicle that he dreamed would leave his mark on the world. As he drew, he could hear his father's voice behind him, offering ideas and questions that sparked even more creativity. The words flowed freely, separating doubt from clarity. They sketched late into the night, each stroke of the pencil weighing both the possibilities and the risks. Hours later, as Jake put down his pencil, he noticed a new energy in the room. "Dad?" Jake hesitated. "What if we show these to the community? Start a conversation?" His father paused, considering. "That's a big step, son. But what if they don't see it the way we do?" I think that's the point." Jake's voice trembled slightly but steadied. "To share our vision. To invite them into our journey. They might surprise us." His father smiled, pride gleaming in his eyes. "You might be right." The idea hung there, glowing in Jake's mind. It felt like a leap into uncharted waters. But perhaps that was where true adventure and transformation began. What had he just unlocked with those words? The night was rich with potential, and Jake knew it wouldn't be easy. But for the first time in a long while, fear and excitement danced in his chest, intertwining into something that felt like hope. As they cleaned up, ready to take a step into an uncertain future, Jake couldn't shake the deeper questions stirring at the back of his mind. Would their small town embrace this vision, or would they turn away? He held on to that fear and excitement as they prepared to share their dreams with the world, unaware of how much it would change everything they knew. The journey was just beginning. Could their community truly rally behind a dream that had just ignited? The sun peeked through the window, casting a warm glow across the cluttered workshop. Jake yawned, stretching his arms above his head, still buzzing with the energy of last night's brainstorming session. The sketches lay crumpled but hopeful on the table, remnants of late-night inspiration. "Are you ready?" His father's voice cut through the morning haze, laced with excitement. "Yeah, I think so," Jake replied, his throat tight with a mix of anticipation and fear. Today was the day they would share their vision with the community. Each droplet of doubt trickled through his mind like rain, but he forced a smile, willing himself to embrace the adventure ahead. Lily rushed into the workshop, her small feet pattering on the wooden floor. "Are we going to show them? Can I do the talking?" she asked with that sparkling enthusiasm only a little sister could muster. Jake laughed, her innocence warming the chill of anxiety creeping over him. "Sure, but let us make sure we're all on the same page first." He flipped through the sketches, each one an embodiment of his dreams. Yet they felt fragile, like glass poised to shatter. "We won't just be showing drawings," his father said, placing a reassuring hand on Jake's shoulder. "We'll be inviting everyone into our dream. It's about community, right? They need to see and feel the passion behind it." "Right," Jake replied, nodding. He could almost feel his heartbeat sync with the pulse of excitement growing within him. It's time to turn this ink into action. As they made their way to the town hall, Jake's palms became clammy, each step echoing doubts and imaginings of what the townsfolk might say. The small town square bustled with life. People gathered, their laughter and chatter a stark reminder of the community waiting to hear their ideas or perhaps crush them. The stage was set, a simple wooden platform adorned with banners and the morning's sun shining bright. Jake's heart raced as he approached the front with his family. They stood together, a united front against uncertainty. "Welcome, everyone." His father's voice rang out clear, filled with warmth. "Today, we want to share something very special with you, a vision of improvement and innovation that we believe can bring our community together." Jake's breath caught as he stepped forward, the sketches trembling slightly in his hands. He glanced at Lily, who nodded encouragingly, and then at his father, who beamed with pride. So, good morning, Jake started, forcing the words through the tightness in his throat. We've been working on an idea. Something that could really help, not just us, but everyone here. The crowd shifted, interest awakening in their eyes. Jake unfolded one of the designs, showcasing the innovative vehicle he envisioned. This isn't just a car. It's a way to connect. It helps us respect our environment while making life easier for everyone. He looked out into the sea of faces, some curious, others skeptical. There was Mrs. Dunlop, her arms crossed tightly, and Mr. Thompson, who seemed distracted. What if it doesn't work, though? He thought a moment before reminding himself of the trust and faith in his father. Jake, remember to breathe, his father whispered, as if sensing his unease. With a deep breath, Jake continued. We want your feedback. We need your thoughts. Together, we can refine this idea, make it something that reflects all our dreams. His heart pounded as he poured his passion into words. As he spoke, something shifted in the crowd. A murmur began, weaving through the filtration of doubt and skepticism. People leaned closer, drawn by Jake's enthusiasm. He could sense hope swirling in the air. What if? What if they loved it? He let the thought lift him a little higher, feeding off their energy like fuel. And then, just like that, a hand shot up in the front row. Jake's breath caught again, eyes wide as he prepared for the first question or critique. Do you really believe this can work? The voice pierced through the hopeful haze, sounding both intrigued and apprehensive. Jake swallowed hard and met the gaze of the questioner. The weight of his answer would determine the tide of the moment. Yes, I do, Jake replied firmly, his heart thundering. But I need your help. As his words hung in the air, Jake realized the journey ahead wouldn't just be about showcasing ideas, it would be about building relationships, fostering trust. He felt the electricity of possibility crackle in the air, the beginnings of something bigger than he could have imagined. But what if the risks outweighed the rewards? What if he couldn't convince them? The questions swirled around as earnest stares met his own, ready to forge a path into the unknown. As the crowd murmured again, Jake could feel the weight of the moment press against him. This was it. Would they step forward with him, or hold back, letting fear guide them into silence? He held his breath, ready for whatever would come next. What was waiting beyond their response, and what would it mean for all of them? Jake felt the anticipation blend sharply with his anxiety. The atmosphere buzzed, heavy with expectation. He stood on that stage, a simple boy transformed into a vessel for change, seeking a bridge between his dreams and the reality of the community he adored. The crowd quieted, the murmurs fading into a breathless silence. Jake's gaze drifted toward the familiar faces he'd grown up with, neighbors, friends, familiar eyes reflecting doubt and curiosity. Mrs. Dunlop, arms still crossed, leaned forward, her brow furrowed. Help us understand, Jake. How is this any different from what's already out there? We've seen plenty of fancy ideas, but we need to know. Why should we believe in yours? Her words struck hard, but deep down, Jake recognized the love she held for their town. He took another breath, drawing strength from the support of his family standing behind him. That's a great question, Mrs. Dunlop, he began, trying to steady the tremor in his voice. This isn't just about creating a vehicle. It's about reimagining our lives together. These designs are rooted in sustainability. We want to minimize our footprint and encourage carpooling and community rides instead of isolation. It's a tool to connect us. He noticed Mr. Thompson shifting, intrigued now, and the two young mothers in the front row leaning closer. Maybe he was getting through to them. Lily, with sparkling eyes, jumped up on her tiptoes, waving her hands, and we want to make it colorful, like a rainbow, so people will smile when they see it. Her delighted imagination broke the tension. A small laugh echoed from the crowd, giving Jake a spark of confidence. Exactly. We want this project to bring joy that's also a part of what we envision, he said, echoing his sister's enthusiasm. But the questions didn't stop there. Another hand was raised, this time an older gentleman with a weathered face. What about the costs, son? Who's going to fund something like this? It sounds nice, but can we really afford to dream? Jake's insides churned. He'd been dreading this question. We're hoping to establish partnerships with local businesses and apply for grants focused on community renewal. We can do this together. The urgency in his voice made him feel alive. He caught his father's gaze, a mix of pride and concern flashing between them. Jake had to keep pushing, had to make them see that community was possible if they dared to dream. A wave of negative energy seemed to ripple back through some in the crowd, but he refused to let it drown him. We're all in this together, he called out. If we don't invest in ourselves, who will? This project is more than just about cars. It's about creating our identity, fostering a sense of belonging. It's about future generations. This is our chance to show them what's possible. The crowd's energy shifted again. He could feel hearts softening, skepticism yielding to cautious curiosity. Hands began to lower, fingers tapping against palms instead of fists of doubt. Then, an unexpected voice emerged. It was Sam, the town's retired engineer, known for his gruff demeanor. You've got guts, kid. I'll give you that. I want to see your passion match with progress. But he paused, letting the word linger. Jake's heart raced. I'll back you up if you can prove this can work. Count me in. A tide of murmuring followed. Some were supportive, others still uncertain. But there it was, an offer. A small victory in a sea of skepticism. Jake felt warmth spread within him. He glanced at Lily, her eyes shining. He turned to his father, who mirrored the same optimism. Okay, folks, let us start building. I want to hear from all of you. Your ideas, your concerns, your questions. Together we can reach for something extraordinary. He watched as a few more hands shot up, this time with eagerness. But lurking behind Jake's rising hope, a shadow whispered, reminding him of the daunting challenges ahead. Would they truly embrace this journey? As the meeting continued, Jake felt the weight of possibility pressing down on him. He needed to harness this moment, ride the wave of energy while also preparing for any storm that might come. Would they rally together, forging ahead into uncharted territory? Or would they draw back from the brink of daring to dream? Jake stepped off the stage, his heart still racing, but a renewed sense of hope coursed through him. The murmurs of the crowd faded into background noise as he was enveloped in the warmth of his family's support. Lily, bouncing on her heels, wrapped her arms around his waist. You did it, Jake, she exclaimed. Her enthusiasm was infectious. He could feel his dad's proud smile without even looking back. Yet, a nagging voice in the back of his mind reminded him that the battle was far from over. Thanks, Lil, he said, ruffling her hair, but his eyes drifted back toward the audience. The energy had shifted, but was it enough? He made his way through the growing group of villagers. Some faces reflected admiration, while others remained skeptical, murmuring among themselves behind their crossed arms. He took a deep breath, approaching Sam. Thank you for stepping up. Your expertise could really help us. Don't get too cocky, Sam warned, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. Ideas are easy. It's the follow-through that define this project. You think you can handle that? Jake clenched his fists, determination filling his voice. I'll do whatever it takes. If people see the real potential, they want to join in. He quickly scanned the crowd, catching snippets of conversations. I heard he wants to make it greener. Can it really bring us together? With every word, Jake felt the flicker of possibility ignite further. Let us turn doubts into possibilities, he shouted, causing heads to snap toward him. We have a lot of work ahead, not just with the vehicles but with the community itself. Mrs. Dunlop stood to speak again, her arms finally unfolding. You have a point, but how do we involve everyone? Lots of folks haven't been listened to. Jake met her gaze, feeling the weight of her question. Starts now. If we organize workshops, everyone can offer their voice. We need ideas, feedback, and yes, criticism. This can't just be my dream. It needs to be ours. The crowd seemed to ripple with intrigue. It was a small step, but a step nonetheless. As conversations sparked about potential designs and ideas for community events, Jake found his energy renewed. Each suggestion breathed life into the project. He volunteered to create a team, scouting people willing to design prototypes, manage funding, and oversee outreach. But then, right at that moment, a loud shrill broke through, a siren wailing in the distance. Everyone turned to see the town's ambulance speeding down the street. Jake's heart sank. Just last week, his neighbor, Mrs. Sanchez, had been rushed to the hospital. "We should check on her," Lily whispered, tugging on Jake's arm. "Stay here," Jake urged, his instincts taking over. "I'll find out what's going on." He sprinted toward the chaos, pushing through the crowd. As he approached the ambulance, he could see familiar faces wearing expressions of worry. The emotion wrapped itself tightly around him. What if it's bad? He thought, panic bubbling in his chest. Reaching the ambulance, he spotted Mrs. Sanchez being assisted by the paramedics. She was cradling her chest, her face pallid. A knot twisted in Jake's stomach. "Is she going to be okay?" he asked, voice trembling. One of the paramedics looked at him with solemn sympathy. "She is stable, but we're taking her to the hospital for monitoring." Jake nodded, relief flooding through him. But as the ambulance doors closed, he was left standing on the sidewalk feeling the weight of uncertainty. "Everyone is counting on us," he muttered to himself, glancing back at the crowd. What had started as a meeting for dreams had spiraled into reality's harsh truths. As he stood there, the weight of the moment hit him. There was urgency now more than ever to make things happen. He turned back, determined resolve setting his jaw. "We won't just dream. We'll act." But was he truly ready to face the hard challenges ahead? Would this moment spark the change he so desperately sought? The town seemed poised on the brink, waiting for something big, something unifying. As the night deepened, Jake felt an unyielding drive to ensure they didn't lose sight of their goal. The crowd still lingered, and there was so much left unsaid. As he returned to the gathering, the question hung in the air. Could their collective passion turn dreams into reality before life's unpredictability struck again? Jake took a deep breath, trying to shake off the heaviness that lingered after seeing Mrs. Sanchez. The sight of the ambulance still weighed on him, a reminder of how fragile life could be. If they wanted to make a difference, they had to act fast. He stepped back into the crowd, fueling the energy again with his determination. "All right, everyone," he called, raising his hands to grab their attention. "I know this is a lot to take in, but let us focus on why we're here. We can create something truly amazing if we work together." Some people nodded while others remained skeptical. He scanned their faces and felt a pang of desperation. Would he have to prove himself time and time again? "Maggie," he shouted, spotting a familiar face in the crowd. "I know you've got some great ideas about community gardens. Why don't you tell us about it?" Maggie stepped forward. Her cheeks crimson with surprise, but excitement lit up her eyes. "Well, we've been wanting to start a garden for a few years now. It would be great to get everyone involved, especially the kids. Teach them about nature, about where food comes from. That's exactly the kind of spirit we need," Jake exclaimed, feeling the energy lift a little. "Imagine if we combined the garden with our project. We could create a sustainable, thriving community center right here." As Maggie spoke, Jake could see her passion growing, encouraging others to chime in with their own thoughts. Ideas floated through the air like sparks, from composting workshops to sustainability fairs. He felt his heart swell. This was it, the connection he'd hoped for. Suddenly, an older gentleman in the back shouted out, "All great ideas, but who is going to pay for all this? We need funding." Jake's heart sank momentarily. Funding was a valid concern, and he knew he needed a solid plan. Yet, he couldn't let the wind get knocked out of his sails. "Let us tackle that too," he replied, forcing a brave tone. "What if we organized a fundraiser? A community event where everyone pitches in? We can share our vision and gather support." Lily's eyes lit up. "We could do a car show. Everyone loves old cars, and we can show off our prototypes." "Exactly," Jake said, looking at her with pride. "If we get people excited, we can find sponsors, and who knows, Maybe even local businesses will want to join the cause. As the crowd buzzed with newfound excitement, Jake felt a warmth radiate through him. They could build this together. There was potential, and he needed to ensure they felt empowered amidst the uncertainties. But then, his mind drifted back to Mrs. Sanchez. She was part of this community too. What if they focused so much on dreams that they lost sight of the needs at hand? What if someone else suffered while they waited for the perfect plan? He shook his head, bringing himself back to the moment. Everyone, let us not forget about our neighbors. Like Mrs. Sanchez, let us make sure to include community care in our plans. We can set up a support system to check in on those who need it. Imagine if we could rally behind the families who are struggling. A ripple of murmurs passed through the crowd. Jake felt hope stir again. This could connect them all. It would be more than just vehicles and gardens, it would be a community banding together. Just then, a flicker of movement caught his eye. Someone was approaching, their face illuminated by the streetlights. It was Mrs. Sanchez's daughter, her expression tight with worry. "Jake," she called out, narrowing her eyes on him. "I've been looking for you. I need to talk to you about my mom." Jake's heart thundered in his chest, instinctively feeling that something was very wrong. His mind raced with possibilities. Had the news from the hospital gone from bad to worse? The crowd around him faded into a blur as he stepped forward to meet her, bracing himself for the conversation that lay ahead. "Wait," she said breathlessly. "There's something you need to know about the hospital, and it involves your project." The air felt heavy as Jake processed her sudden words. What could she possibly mean? What impact could their small ambitions have on something much larger? He took another breath, preparing himself for whatever revelation might come next. Was this a turning point for the community he so desperately wanted to ignite? Jake's mind raced with questions as he studied the anxious face before him. Mrs. Sanchez's daughter clenched her hands, her knuckles white against the backdrop of the gathering crowd. "What do you mean it involves the project?" he asked, urgency pushing his words. She took a moment, inhaling deeply as if gathering strength. "The hospital, it's struggling, Jake. They're going to cut services if things don't change. I heard them talking when I visited my mom. They're looking for community support, and they were mentioning leveraging local resources that includes your plans for the center." Jake felt a jolt of realization. They could impact more than just the community garden or the car show. So if we rally together, maybe we can help save the hospital? Hope swelled in his chest. We could show them that our community stands behind every single member. "Yes," she said, her eyes sparkling with renewed energy. "But it needs to be now while they're looking for solutions. My mom, she was always helping others. I can't let her be part of a place that might not be there for her, and now we need help for her." Jake felt the weight of her words sink in. He couldn't just think about a project anymore. This was life and death for someone he admired. His heart ached for Mrs. Sanchez, but the burden of that thought transformed into resolve. "All right, everyone." Jake raised his voice again, the crowd falling silent, their attention locked on him. "This isn't just about our community center. This is also about the hospital. We have a chance to secure vital resources for our neighbors. Mrs. Sanchez is one of many lives we can touch and save." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. People exchanged glances, a sense of urgency settling over them. Jake noticed shoulders straighten, determination replacing uncertainty. Maggie stepped forward again, her eyes bright. "We can involve schools, businesses, anyone who wants to make a difference. A fundraiser for both the community center and the hospital could draw in more people than we ever imagined." "Yes," Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. "Imagine a car show, a garden festival, a bake sale. We can have booths that share health advice, even free checkups." Jake felt a buzz of excitement. Ideas were rapidly exchanging hands like currency. A sense of teamwork began to unfold, each suggestion building upon the last. Yet a sliver of anxiety gnawed at him. How could they possibly coordinate all this? But just as the collective energy reached a crescendo, the expression on Mrs. Sanchez's daughter's face shifted from hope to dread. "You don't understand. The hospital's decisions are final in 2 weeks. If we don't act now, things could get worse than we can imagine. The weight of urgency pressed on Jake's chest. He had a burning desire to transform their ideas into action. Yet time seemed to mock him. "All right, let us not waste a moment," he said firmly, adrenaline surging through him. "We need a committee to organize this. I'll lead it, but I need volunteers. Who's with me? Let us show everyone that our community is unstoppable." Hands shot up, one after another, faces filled with purpose. That surge of energy he'd hoped for was palpable, igniting sparks of resolve among the group. But as they all began to strategize, a nagging fear pricked the back of Jake's mind. What if they did all this and it still wasn't enough? What if they failed? The evening pressed forward. Ideas flowed like the summer wind, laughter and serious conversations mingling together under the streetlights. But as they worked, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that the clock was ticking. Mrs. Sanchez could be watching, counting on them. Would they rise to the occasion? "Wait," he said suddenly, realization dawning on him. "What if this isn't just about saving the hospital? What if we could create alliances with other local organizations? There's gotta be a way to strengthen our efforts together." As he spoke, he felt hope crashing into doubt, leaving him precariously balanced on the edge. Would their collective strength be enough to change the narrative for their community? What lay ahead felt uncertain, but one thing was clear. This was just the beginning. And with every moment that passed, the urgency of their mission grew heavier. "Let us get to work," he shouted, a mix of determination and fear filling the air. The question lingered as everyone rallied to support this newfound purpose. Would they make their dreams come true before it was too late? The town hall buzzed with energy, a potent mix of excitement and determination. Jake could feel his heart thumping with adrenaline as the group began to divide into teams. Ideas darted back and forth like fireflies, illuminating paths he hadn't even thought to consider. "Okay, I need 3 volunteers for the event planning committee," Jake shouted, holding up a clipboard with makeshift diagrams. "We need to hammer out logistics for the car show and festival. We'll make this a community-wide effort." Lily jumped up, her hand waving wildly. "Me, I'll help organize everything." She beamed with enthusiasm, and Jake couldn't help but smile back at her. As others called out their names, Jake felt a fire ignite within him. Each commitment was a thread in the fabric of a larger dream, one that could truly transform their community. He noticed Sam stepping forward, determination clear in his expression. "I'll help draft proposals for local businesses to sponsor. We can start putting feelers out now." "Great idea," Jake encouraged, heart swelling with pride at how quickly they were banding together. But just when Jake thought they were on a roll, the same voice echoed from earlier, slicing through the anticipation. "How do we actually get the hospital to listen?" Jake exhaled slowly, the air thick with tension. He thought back to Mrs. Sanchez's daughter's worried face. "We can't just wait for them to come to us. We must show them how committed we are." The crowd murmured in agreement. "Let us get testimonies from families who've benefited," he suggested. "We can share those stories to illustrate our community's need. Everyone matters in this fight." "That's it," Maggie chimed in again. "It's crucial they see how much the community cares. Show them we're not just talking, we're acting." The energy shifted, and a renewed sense of purpose filled the room. Jake felt the doubts begin to lessen as momentum built. "So we'll gather testimonials, contact organizations, and focus on the event," he rallied, feeling hope bubble in his chest. But would they actually see it through? Jake's mind flickered back to Mrs. Sanchez. Each decision felt weighty, pushing them deeper into unknown territory. Suddenly, he spotted Mrs. Sanchez's daughter talking to a few friends, their heads bent together in serious conversation. Seeing the worry etched on her face pulled at Jake's heart. He needed them all to understand they weren't just working for an idea. They were fighting for lives. "Can we also make this a campaign?" he asked the group, seeking even more involvement. "We can create flyers, share on social media. What if we brought this effort outside town, made bigger waves? The more people we get involved, the more impact we'll make." The crowd erupted in a crescendo of agreement again, voices climbing over each other in excitement. They began to assign roles swiftly. Jake felt the weight of responsibility, knowing every voice mattered, every effort would count. Yet another voice cut through, one filled with concern. What happens if things go south? A quiet woman asked from the back. If this doesn't work? Jake paused, taking a moment to absorb her fear, his own lingering doubt. It was then he understood. This wasn't just about success. It was about resilience. If things don't go the way we envision, we adapt. We learn. Just like every one of us has fought through hard times, this will be no different. We have each other, and that's what makes us strong. Encouraged murmurings rippled through the crowd, glimmers of acknowledgement in their eyes. He was driving home a truth they all understood yet had previously ignored. We're not just building cars, we're building community. He added, passion surging through him. Each word felt like an anchor, rooting them deeper in purpose. The room rang with the sounds of commitment, voices promising to converge, to show strength before adversity. Hours later, after outlining action plans and strategies, the group decided to prepare for their campaign. They would meet the following week to share progress, and the air throbbed with resilience. But, as the evening settled in, Jake faced twilight's eerie calm. He held on to hope, yet the anxiety of uncertainty still tugged at him. What if their momentum burned out before they saw the outcome? Stepping outside, the cool breeze curled around him like a gentle reminder of the work ahead. He closed his eyes, collecting himself. Then, with determination etching deep lines on his brow, he found clarity. Let us keep this fire burning, he whispered under his breath, knowing their journey was only just beginning. He recalled Mrs. Sanchez's supportive smile, her laughter ready to burst even in tired moments. They owed this to her and others who fought every day silently. As night fell, Jake felt a profound connection with his community intensifying. The stakes were high, but together, they fight for each other, for their shared future. Tomorrow is a new day, he whispered to himself, hope steady in his heart. Would they rally the entire town to rise together in this cause? United, they might just turn dreams into reality before time took the community they cherished. Tomorrow would be the first significant step toward change, and he was ready to lead them. Jake felt energized, inspiration coursing through him. They could do this, and he pushed forward, ready to embrace whatever awaited them on the horizon. Now is the time for you to join our journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our mission. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this Ending Your Voice Matters. And for the love of community, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Let us spread this message together.